terms, once again, now how are these two terms, which are very contradictory, coming together is the main question. So on the other hand, when we talk about ethical hacking, this is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. Okay, so a vulnerability is nothing but a flaw or a weakness in the information system. Okay, so using these weaknesses only, hackers try to gain access to the target system. So your job as an ethical hacker would be to find these vulnerabilities or loopholes in the information system with the permission of the organization. So you work hand in hand with the consent of the organization, find the vulnerabilities, and you report it back so that the organization can apply the patch for it. And once a patch is applied, the vulnerability is closed and you're increasing the security of the organization. Okay, so therefore, with ethical hacking, you're trying to perform, again, you're trying to check to it that no other hacker can cause any other further harm. You're increasing the security rather than causing harm with hacking, with ethical hacking. So I hope these two terms are clear, guys, what hacking is and what ethical hacking is now. And I hope there's no confusion among them. Again, please feel free to interrupt me at any certain point if you have a question or doubt. So any questions or doubts, guys, up to this part? And I hope everyone is able to hear me. Any issues with my audio, guys? Okay, perfect. Perfect. Right, guys. Thank you for responding back. Now, depending on these two definitions of hacking and ethical hacking, we can categorize the types of hackers as well. So basically, in broad categorization, there are three types. There's someone known as a black hat hacker, there's someone known as a white hat hacker, and then there's someone known as a gray hat hacker. These are the three kinds. On one end of the spectrum, black hat hacker, also known as a cyber criminal, is someone who performs hacking for his own benefit. Okay, and sometimes he also does it just for fun without asking for consent. On the other hand of the spectrum, or the other end of the spectrum, you have someone known as a white hat hacker. White hat hackers are also known as ethical hackers or penetration testers. These are the people who abide by the laws and policies of the organization and work for securing the organization's infrastructure. Okay. Now, in between these two, there's someone else known as a gray hat hacker. Gray hat hacker, again, as the name itself says, it has both the qualities of a black hat hacker as well as a white hat hacker. So like a black hat hacker, he doesn't ask for permission before performing the penetration testing. But once he finds a vulnerability, he reports it back. Okay. But there's a minor catch over here. He does not do that for free. Okay. He always does it for something known as a bounty. Okay. And that is why these people are also known as bug bounty hunters. Okay. So bounty is something which could benefit him. It could benefit him financially or reputation wise. So he could ask for money for reporting that vulnerability back, or he could ask for reputation for that vulnerability, for finding that vulnerability. Okay. And that is nothing but the bounty which benefits him. Now, all these three types of hackers, the professional hackers, black hat, gray hat, or white hat, perform hacking or ethical hacking in a certain number of steps. Okay. And those steps are known as, collectively called as, hacking cycle or cyber kill chain. Now, various organizations categorize these steps into various numbers, but if I had to summarize it up, there are 5 important steps. Okay. Let me list them out one by one, and then we'll practically see what each of these steps are so that you have a better picture of what the whole course is about. Okay. So the first topic in hacking cycle is nothing but information gathering. Okay. Sometimes it can also be referred to as reconnaissance or footprinting. Second is known as scanning, which can also be referred to as enumeration. Third is gaining access. Fourth is maintaining access. And the last one is reporting or clearing traces. Okay. The reason I've specifically mentioned all over here in the last step is because that is where it makes all the difference between a white hat hacker and a black hat hacker. If you're a white hat hacker, you try to perform the first 4 steps and you generate a report to submit to the organization, which includes the list of all the vulnerabilities. If you're a black hat hacker, definitely you're not going to generate any report or submit it to the organization. Whatever you do it by hiding. Okay. So you try to be very anonymous and you try to perform all the attacks and all. And even after that, some traces will be left out. So some footprints will be left out. So your job as a black hat hacker would be to remove those evidences. Okay. And that is nothing but clearing traces in simple terms. Okay. Now let's briefly discuss about each of these terms one by one, guys. So first term is information gathering. As the name itself is, information gathering. Information gathering is nothing but trying to gather as much information as possible about the target passively. What I mean by passively is that the hacker or the ethical hacker gets that information from third-party sources. he does not contact the organization directly. He gets it from the internet. Okay. Now the main question is, what kind of information are we talking about over here? And this is the information as follows. So you try to get information such as the IP address of the organization or the range of IP addresses used by the target organization. Then the who is records to understand who is hosting the website, when was it first updated, when was it last updated, or when will it expire, and all that information. Then DNS information, like what IP addresses or what host names are stored in the DNS service. Then employee details, such as their contact numbers, their email addresses, their publicly disclosed usernames and passwords, and so on. Okay. Now, all this information, as I've mentioned, guys, is readily available on the internet to be gathered. If I show you a very basic example, I can just go to my browser, and in the browser, I can just search for a website called DNS Dumpster. Okay. And this website is capable of giving you the complete DNS information for any organization. The DNS stands for domain name service. This DNS server links each and every domain name of the target organization with its exact host name. So from this, you get to figure out on the target, what all domains exist and what all servers are existing and what are their exact IP addresses. So if I search for an organization such as Wipro.com, and if I click on search, as you can see over here, it loads up the complete information of DNS on Wipro servers. So firstly, it shows the geolocation, like where Wipro servers are being located. Then it shows that there are 4 DNS servers for Wipro, and these are the exact host names and their exact public IPs. These IP addresses are very important for a hacker or an ethical hacker to perform the further steps of hacking cycle, to perform scanning and getting access. Then after that, it shows the mail server as well. So it uses one mail server with its exact public IP. Scroll down much further. It also shows you all the exact domains of Wipro.com and their exact public IPs. These are the domain names and the subdomains of it. If you scroll down much further, it gives the complete network topology of Wipro's organization, like how each and every device in Wipro is connected. Okay. Now all this information is completely and legally obtainable, which means there is no harm in, or there's no fake information from the website. This is completely genuine and is given out by Wipro itself. Okay, because these servers need to be accessible by their public users. So therefore it is publicly available. There's nothing wrong in displaying this information. The only flaw will be when this displayed information has any vulnerabilities anywhere. So that is where pen testers come into play, and they need to check for each and every endpoint if there's any vulnerability existing on each of these servers. Okay. Now coming with the next phase, after information gathering. So just like that, after you get all the information for all the regarding any organization, then we go with the next phase, which is scanning. Now scanning, as I've mentioned, is next phase after information gathering, where you try to gain some extra information by active connections. So in information gathering, we got it by passive connections, which means from other third-party sources. In scanning, we make active connections. Active in the sense, you directly target the organization server and you send packets to that server. And in response to those packets, you get some extra juicy information. Now, when you talk about scanning, there's always 3 categories. And these are as follows. So firstly, you perform network scanning to figure out on the target network. So if I have Wipro.com, on that target Wipro.com network, what all active devices are running. So what all client operating systems are running, what firewalls exist, what servers exist, what routers, switches, whatever networking devices it be. So what all devices are up and running in that target organization. Once you know the devices which are up, on them you perform port scanning to figure out on those devices what ports are open, and on those open ports what services or applications are running. Okay. Then once you find the list of all the ports open, then you perform vulnerability scanning to figure out if on those services are there any weaknesses or vulnerabilities that you can attack on. So again, this is a step-by-step procedure, guys. First, you find the devices. On those devices, you find the services running. On those services, you find if there's any vulnerability. And if there is any, you try to attack on that vulnerability and get access to the device. Okay. So in this phase, we're using a very important tool called Nessus. So if I show you the official website, I can just search for Tenable Nessus. And this is the tool that is used in organizations as well. This is a vulnerability scanning tool. If you click on buy, you can notice this is around $4,000 or so for 1 year subscription. That tool. So this is a pretty costly tool. Again, this is the same tool that is used in organizations as well. And in our classes also, we learn how to use this tool. Okay. So I already have Nessus on my system. As you can see, if I go with this IP, this is how your Nessus tool looks like. So this is my login page. Let me give my credentials. And you can see these are the scan templates in the Nessus tool. Okay, so you can perform an advanced scan or a malware scan or a website scan, what auditing scan or whatever it be, to understand on the target system what weaknesses or vulnerabilities exist. So if I show you my example scan over here, as you can see, I've scanned 3 devices in my network. Now again, might seem very technical, guys, but again, this is showing you on each device what kind of weaknesses exist. Okay, and weaknesses are nothing but vulnerabilities or the flaws. And each vulnerability is categorized to 5 of these levels. Okay, so there's information level vulnerabilities, lower level vulnerabilities, medium, high, and critical level. Okay, and we understand each of these and their impacts. Yeah, definitely, Sudhakar, no issues. Okay, so again, as I've mentioned, all the vulnerabilities are categorized depending on the impact that they can cause. And we understand how to check for this report and how to generate this report and how to rectify each of these vulnerabilities one by one. Okay, after that, after scanning is done, then we go with the gaining access part. So once you know that there are certain vulnerabilities on a system, you need to attack on that system and get access to that device. And this is where gaining access comes into play. So it is a huge concept. It covers a vast variety of topics. And these are the topics as follows. So firstly, we learn system hacking, where in system hacking, we try to understand how to crack or bypass any Windows operating system password. Okay, so if you have Windows 7 or Windows 8, 10 or 11, doesn't matter. So, and if that system is password protected, how do you bypass that password? If you're unable to bypass, how do you crack that password and get access to the internal system files, okay, the personal files of any target. Okay, then comes malware attacks. Again, malware are nothing but, in simple terms, malicious software. Any software that can harm your device by posing as a genuine application is known as a malware. Again, under malware, there are lots of categories. There's viruses, worms, Trojan, backdoors, spyware, whatnot. We'll practically learn how to create each of these malwares and how to defend your system from these malwares as well. Okay, then there's a bonus concept called malware advanced. This is not included in the CH curriculum, guys, from EC Council. We have added this so students have a better understanding of how to create malwares using Python program. Okay, so again, in this, we'll learn how to create a basic keylogger, which is capable of capturing all the information on the target. Okay, so whatever keys the target types, each and every keystroke will be captured and sent to the attacker's machine. So after that, you have network penetration testing. So in a local network, you have multiple different servers. You have DNS server, DHCP server, SNMP server, SNMP, NTP server, whatnot. Okay, so how do you check for vulnerabilities on each of these servers? And what kind of attacks can you perform in a local network, such as sniffing attack, man-in-the-middle attack, DOS attack, denial of service attacks, or hacking Wi-Fi routers? All this comes under network pen testing, finding vulnerabilities inside a local network and what kind of attacks can we perform in a local network. Then comes social engineering. Okay, social engineering is where hackers try to show you or how to perform fake phishing attacks. Okay, so how do hackers create fake login pages, whether it be social media pages or any bank login website or any government portal, how to create fake login pages. And using these fake login pages, how do you get the credentials of the victim? So we learn how hackers perform phishing attacks and how do you defend our system from these phishing attacks. Okay, then comes web application pen testing. This involves us to find vulnerabilities in websites. So your websites have a few vulnerabilities or weaknesses, such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, whatnot. So we, excuse me. So we try to find out how to check for each and every vulnerability as shown, and how do you defend your website from these kinds of weaknesses. Okay, so using these weaknesses only, hackers try to hack websites and get the database information or the client's information, or they get they can deface the websites, remove the content from the websites and all. So how is this happening? How do these vulnerabilities get detected? How do you prevent these vulnerabilities is what we learn in web application pen testing. Then finally comes vulnerability assessment, which is also known as VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. In this, we learn how to perform attack on a system on a vulnerability. So over here in my Nessus tool, I could see that there's several different kinds of vulnerabilities on the system. So using these vulnerabilities, how do I attack the system and get access to the data in that system is what we learn in vulnerability assessment. Then comes finally hacking mobile phones, where again, we learn how to perform pen testing on an Android phone, how to create malwares for Android, and using those malwares, how do you get the reverse connection or remote connection for the device? Okay, so again, it is completely comprehensive. You're going to cover all the endpoints, whether it be a public web server or whether it be a local LAN network device, or whether it be a mobile phone, or whether it be a wireless devices, routers, anything, everything is covered in one single course. After all the gaining access part is done, then we go with maintaining access. How do you maintain persistent connection? So even if the user restarts his system or shuts it down and starts after a very long time, how do you maintain that connection with the system? How do you still download his data is what we learn in maintaining access. Finally comes reporting or clearing traces, where you can generate a report or where you can remove the evidences. And we learn both the techniques. Okay. Now again, all of this concludes the presentation, guys. Again, I guess you have already received the course content. If not, let me show that as well. Sudhakar, you were asking me about the course content, if I'm not wrong. And over here, this is the course content, guys. So before we dive into all the advanced concepts, we have a few prerequisites to cover as well. So we need to learn, understand, again, all the prerequisites are covered in the course itself. Christopher, you have asked a question, do we need a Wi-Fi USB adapter? Definitely. When you're performing Wi-Fi pen testing, Wi-Fi adapter is completely necessary. But again, as I've mentioned, only for that one single topic. For the rest of the topics, you don't need a Wi-Fi adapter. Unless and until you're performing penetration testing on Wi-Fi routers or wireless devices, you don't need the USB adapter, okay, which is capable of packet injection. Only for that one certain topic, you need that, okay. But this course go to internals of hacking high level hacking. Again, yeah, definitely, Harsha. We will definitely learn. Again, we'll be using a very important operating system called the Kali Linux operating system, as you can see over here. Okay, and this operating system comes pre-installed with all the pen testing tools. So we'll practically learn how to use each of these tools and how to perform pen testing in advanced level. Okay, again, I don't have this in my country. No worries, Christopher. Again, I'll be showing you a site from where you can get that adapter for free in any country it's possible to purchase that adapter. So I'll be showing you that as well. Again, as I've mentioned, it is not a compulsion. Only for that Wi-Fi pen testing, we need that adapter. Other than that, we don't need. Okay. Duration of the course, again, I'll be coming to that, Sudhakar. But just to answer your question, it's for 45 days. Okay. So again, guys, before we dive into the advanced concepts, as I've mentioned, we have a few prerequisites to cover. Okay. Since not everyone is from a technical background, we need to understand basics of networking concepts, basics of Linux and Windows commands, and basics of virtualization. The reason why we need to learn this is because, again, firstly, virtualization. As you can see over here, I'm running my Windows 11 operating system. Inside this Windows 11, I have to run a Linux operating system. So for that, I installed a tool called VMware. VMware is a virtualization application which allows you to run multiple operating systems at one time. As you can see, this is the VMware application. And inside this VMware application only, I have my Kali operating system. As you can see, Kali is a completely Linux-based operating system. Okay, so we need to understand how to set up our lab in this virtualization environment. Then we need to learn how to perform a basic Linux command operation. And then we basically learn networking concepts as well. Like what is IP address, what are IPv4, IPv6 addresses, what is a DNS server, what is a DHCP server, all that technical or foundational required concepts. So all the prerequisites are included in the course itself, guys. You don't need to learn anything from anywhere separately. Okay, so whatever we require for the course, that is included in the course itself. Okay, after all these basic concepts are covered, then we go into the advanced concepts. Okay, I've not included all of them in the presentation, but as you can see, there's a few more topics over here, like such as cryptography, reverse engineering, IoT, cloud security, Splunk, basics of Splunk, and so on. So there's a lot of topics. It's a complete comprehensive course. The course is for 45 days. Okay, and every day from Monday to Friday, we have a 1-hour class. Okay, so again, the timing should be at the same time at 8 p.m. itself. There should be no change in the timings. Harsharaj, yeah, we can use VirtualBox as well. Harsharaj, not an issue at all. Okay, I show VMware because it's a bit user friendly and it's easier to install, and it's comparatively a bit user friendly. That's the only reason I have my preference with VMware. Okay, again, VMware is a paid tool, but again, I provide the cracked version. I myself am also using the cracked version itself, the latest 16.5 or 16 Pro. Okay, and there are no issues with it. Okay? It's completely safe. Okay, I check each and every tool rigorously. So for malwares before I send any tool to you guys. Okay, so we'll be using the practical tools that are used in organizations. Again, in organizations as well, you usually use VMware on rather than VirtualBox. So that is why I was showing on VMware, but not an issue. If you have VirtualBox, you can use VirtualBox as well. Not at all a big deal. Okay. So yeah, again, guys, as I've mentioned, the course is for 45 days at from Monday to Friday. We have a 1-hour class at 8 p.m. And again, it's a 20-40 ratio class, guys. The first 20 minutes in the class will discuss the theoretical part, and the remaining 30 to 40 minutes will discuss completely practical part. There is no theoretical complete 1-hour theoretical nonsense. It is completely practical implemented. It is completely real-time scenario based. with real-time tools that are used in organizations and from the very basics, from scratch. You don't need to learn anything separately from anywhere else. All the prerequisites are included in the course itself. Okay, so yeah, that's that. If you have any questions, you can let me know. No, Harsha, we don't need to learn any programming language. There's only one certain topic, as I've mentioned, a bonus topic. For that, we learn basics of Python. We won't even go in depth. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Any other questions, guys, from anyone? Sudhakar, again, with DurgaSoft, you have a portal where you can check for updated job requirements. So in DurgaSoft portal, you get it. Or another website that I usually searches for students. I have my own references. I have my own contacts, okay, and consultancies from where I get requirements posted. So I keep forwarding that to the students as well. Okay. Secondly, if you want to do it yourself, you can go to this website called jobs.null. This is the website that I usually suggest to students. So this website is specifically for cybersecurity jobs in India. Okay, depending on the job role, as you can see over here. There's tons and tons of categories. If you're a complete fresher, just click on fresher or internship over here, and you can see these are all the jobs available. Okay, so regularly this website gets updated with newer and newer requirements. So yeah, there's tons and tons of jobs. The only lacking is with these skilled employees. We're going to build tools by programming. Well, no, Christopher. Again, as I've mentioned, whatever tools are there and available in Kali, we should be using the same tools. We don't need to build any tools separately. Only for malware attack, as I've mentioned, in that one certain topic, we'll understand how to build malwares. Okay. Other than that, nothing else. Okay. I'll be sharing the resources for that also. Again, but most of the time, we'll be using the tools that are available with Kali. If they're not available with Kali, I'll show you how to download them from internet, usually from GitHub, and use them and install them in Kali and use them from the scratch. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Any doubts or queries? Please let me know. Again, yeah, Thomas. The course should be, again, we will be covering, or we'll be starting the course from Thursday actually. On Thursday, I'll be taking a very basic networking concepts class. Okay, so if you're missing out that class, also not a big deal. Every class will be recorded and the recording will be uploaded to the Google Drive where you can access the recordings whenever you want to. Okay, and you can go through the recordings. So we'll be taking a class on Thursday again. The first class will be from Thursday onwards. Okay, and again, so you might be missing only 2 classes, Thursday and Saturday, and Thursday and Friday. Okay, so not a big deal. As I've mentioned, we won't be diving into the advanced concepts at all. We'll be going from the very basics, like what is a network, what is a host, what are IP addresses, what are IPv4, IPv6 addresses, and all that. Okay, completely theoretical and introductory classes. So from Thursday, the classes will start at 8 p.m. in the evening. What certifications will we be able to cover? Oh, again, CEH, Harsha. So once you're done with the course, you can start applying for certified ethical hacking certification. Other than that, if you want to do other certifications, you would have to do those courses as well. Let's discover cloud pen testing. No, Vivek, we're not going to be diving deep into cloud. That's a completely different course altogether. We will be covering the basics of it. So what are the basic requirements for cloud security and how do you implement that? Is that clear, Vivek, Harsha? Okay, perfect. Any other questions, guys? Please let me know if you have any queries. Yes, Thomas, classes for 1 hour every day from Monday to Friday. We'll start at 8 p.m. and end close to 9 p.m. Right. Okay, guys, I'm assuming that's the end of your questions. I hope everything is clear. I hope no one has any further questions or doubts. And yeah, if you have any questions regarding any of these topics or so, please feel free to contact me on this number 76800697768. Not an issue. If you have any queries regarding the course timings or the course fees or the batch timings also, contact DurgaSoft Institute directly. Okay. So again, if DurgaSoft is not responding to the call, please let me know. Again, as I've mentioned, this is the number over here. Let me put that in the chat box as well. 768-0069768. Okay. So yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further for our session today. I hope it was completely clear. I hope it was. I hope it had no issues with my audio or my video connections. Apologies for the delay. And yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further. Have a good day. And I hope to see you soon. Again, guys, as I've mentioned, if you're planning on starting the course is going to start from Thursday at 8 p.m. sharp. Okay. So you can join your classes from Thursday onwards if you're planning on starting the course. And any other, one last time, any questions or queries or doubts for anyone? Perfect. Okay, guys. So yeah, that's that. Nothing more. I hope you liked the session. I hope it was quite interactive and fun. And yeah, that's it, guys. Bye-bye. See you soon. Have a good day. Take care.